The speaker today is Sarfraz Amin. I just was talking to him a couple of minutes back, and he holds 3 patents on his name. I asked him what is RPA. Take a guess, anyone? RPA? Yes, absolutely. So he's a veteran in the space of automation, right? He says, I'm a technologist at heart. Keep me in the background. I don't want to come in the foreground. So Amin has spent his initial years as a technology trainer and moved into the space of digital transformation using the path of RPA. Amin, to his credit, has architected and built an RPA platform which is currently deployed across multiple leading organizations. I welcome Amin to present this program.
Thank you, Isaac, for this opportunity. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's session. In the next 45 minutes, we will be discussing about how to architect digital transformation through automation. So before we get started, I actually wanted to share how I feel today, right? How I felt yesterday and how I feel today. So you see there is a caterpillar and there is a butterfly. So that's how I felt yesterday to today. Yesterday I was like a caterpillar sitting on the audience side of the house, observing what speakers were presenting, a ton of digital information, a ton of digital error, how our lives are being changed, A. B, it also started my thought process of where to start this presentation and what to communicate today. So the whole of last night, I started pondering on what to present and how to present. So with that, I think I put together the topic of digital transformation, automation, architecting, all these words to begin with. So I'm going to take a step back. Before I start presenting, I'm going to ask 2 questions to you. The first question is, how many of y'all use automation to complete your day-to-day task? Can you just put up your hands? Perfect, handful. How many of y'all think automation is yet to evolve to help you in your day-to-day tasks? Handful of people, amazing. Keep these questions in mind. I'm going to share some thoughts, some anecdotes, and then I'm going to tell you how significant are these 2 questions. So let's get started. What is digital transformation? Anybody who wants to attempt? What is digital transformation? We saw Ubers, we saw a lot of companies, a lot of speakers said, this is a digital transformation. But anybody can say what digital transformation is? So I started thinking last night and I said, okay, digital transformation to me at least is a mystery. There were a lot of good slides, there are a lot of good examples, there are a lot of enterprises who have done this successfully. At least to my knowledge, I started seeing it as a mystery. I started putting together 3 terminologies. One is digitization, one is digitalization, and the other one is digital transformation. Now, how are these 3 things linked to each other? Is there a link? How do we pursue all of these 3 things in our life today? Being it work, being it things that we buy, being it things that we use. So let's get started with digitization first. So what is digitization? So I've put 3 images of what digitization is. Anybody wants to take a guess or an attempt? Because it's all pictorically easy to understand and represent. The first thing is books, classwork books, plus 2, the books that we go to a library and lend and read. All that has become Kindle today, all that has gone into digital classrooms. The second thing is the library, specifically on the Amazon, Kindle, and a lot of other e-reading books. The third thing is on the day-to-day work that we do, invoices, purchase orders, all that have become digital today from papers. So digitization is converting something from paper to a digital and converting something from a paper to a digital medium. So that's the first step in digital transformation. The second step is digitalization. Now, how different is digitization to digitalization. Is there a difference or all one and the same? So how do we differentiate these two? Digitization is converting paper to a digital medium. Digitalization is making the medium that has the digital content work for you. So there are three pictures again. The first picture is on the school. A teacher is using a YouTube to explain what and how. The second thing is you see a bunch of mechanics with an iPad. Everywhere information is available today. You take your bikes, take your cars that we use daily. You have a service manual which says how to use the product. In the same fashion, there is always a technical manual written for the service stations to find out what and how to troubleshoot. Now that information is digitization, and today how things are moving or changing is they are using the digitized information to find out what is the component that has gone wrong. So the third picture signifies that story. A car mechanic using an iPad to scan the engine which has digitized content in the technicals form to enable him to make a decision what needs to be changed or what needs to be troubleshooted. So digitalization is nothing but making the digitized content work for you. So that's digitalization. Now what is digital transformation? Is it short-lived? Is it going to be evergreen? Are we all going to go to the digital era like all the speakers presented? How is it going to work? Fad is nothing but something which is curious, something which is short-lived, a short span of time. Is digital transformation a short span of time? That's something that you could achieve? That's something that we could get out of? I believe so, no. Are there true digital innovators? The answer is yes. We see Netflix, we see Tringo, and we see Airbnb. I'm sure we all know what Netflix does, how Netflix has changed the way we watch content today. A decade back, or 2 decades back, all digital content in the media space was available in the theaters. We used to go majority of the times to a theater. And then it slowly moved into Netflix's first digital transformation. They started shipping CDs and DVDs. From there, they went into another digital transformation where they put content online so that we can all access. And we can all decide when to watch, what to watch, how to watch it, using a mobile phone, using a tablet, using a projection system. So it all depends, right? The way Netflix has empowered us. What is Tringo? Does anybody know what a Tringo is? Amazing. Tringo is a Uber when it comes to agricultural powering. So what does Tringo do? Tringo took the concept of Uber. Tringo said, any farmer need not buy mechanization instruments going forward. They brought mechanization instruments. They bought specialists who can operate the mechanization instrument together. They said, just book it in an app. We'll send you the tractor with the specialist to harvest your crops. So that's Tringo. That's an initiative by Mahindra and Mahindra. Now, will TAFE follow it? Yes, TAFE is also following it by something called as J-Farm. So these are 2 large tractor manufacturing companies. See the way how they have digitally transformed their business. They are in the manufacturing unit, but they are also putting in a service together. They changed the business model on how they sell tractors. Now, is it going to kill their business in the long run? In a way, the production units might shrink, but they might get more customers, more invisible customers through this mechanism. So that's about Tringo. Now, what's Airbnb? We all know what Airbnb is? Hotel booking. So do you know what the power of Airbnb is? So Marriott wants to add, this is 5 years old. I don't know what Airbnb can do today. So 5 years back, Marriott said, we want to add 30,000 rooms this year. Airbnb's co-founder, Brian Chesky, said, we'll do that in 2 weeks. So that's the power of Airbnb. That's the power of digital transformation. How it has enabled us to make decisions. How it has enabled us to select what we want, to buy what we want. So digital transformation is actually intertwined in every angle of the day-to-day life that we lead. I have some more examples that I'll give you from my real life. 2 weeks back, I was forced to buy a washing machine because my washing machine died. My wife started cribbing. You're not getting me a washing machine. Now what's this? You can be busy, but I also need to be stressful. You're putting me through a lot of stress. I said, okay, let's go to the store and see which one we want to buy. So we went to the store. We looked at all powerful brands, starting from IFB to Samsung to LG to Whirlpool to whatnot. So all these guys had washing machines, right? Specifically, one of the brand, which is LG, which has made a very, very smart move. So what they have done in the washing machine, they have put error codes and they have put error beeps. Now how does it looking smart? It looks very dumb to me. I asked him, what is ThinkQ, smart ThinkQ? He said, sir, I don't know what happened to your washing machine. Now if something is wrong with your washing machine, what would you do? I said, I'll call the customer care. I'll tell them that my machine has gone faulty. Now what do I do? So send me a technician. A technician arrives at my home, opens up the machine, finds out what is faulty. Then he says, okay, sir, your bill is going to be so much. So somebody needs to come to tell me what is the problem, how much is it going to cost me, how long it's going to service the whole machine. Now LG has made a very smart move. They've put together something called a smart queue in their washing machines. So if there is a fault, the washing machine starts beeping up. You have a app on the cell phone or on the iOS on the iPad. You just take it near it. It will tell you which part is faulty, whether the part is available in their warehouse, and when will the technician come and how much would it cost. LG is trying to avoid two things. One, LG has empowered us to see what's at fault, which none of the other companies have done. That's truly digitally transforming the way we use and we get serviced. Number two, I'm not saying everybody cheats. Majority of the times when somebody comes to the house on servicing something, they say 1, 2, 3, all 4 components are gone faulty, you need to replace all 4. Whether it's an AC or whether it's a washing machine, whether it's a television, it could be any electronic gadget that we use in our day-to-day life. But LG has made a very smart move there, impacting what needs to be changed. So with the error code, it exactly tells you what is the component that has gone bad and how much will it cost. And do you need to service or change all the other components that are overlaying or wrapped around it, which requires a change or not. So that's the power of digital transformation, which is hiding in India at least, in a Vasant & Co store. So somebody told me this at a Vasant & Co store, who was grateful enough to explain this whole sequence of how washing machines have evolved. Of course, they have evolved in space, they have evolved in features, they have evolved in wash quality, wash cycles, all that has evolved because the machine that I got was 10 years old, 6.5 kilos, so big. So today at the same space, the machine that I've got just only occupies 60% of the space. So all that leaving aside, but when you come to the true digital innovating company, LG is one amongst them, which I experienced in the products that I bought recently. Another interesting fact that I want to share is, I have a 10-year-old son. He's very, very interested in doing arts, painting, drawing, all of this. 5 years back, he used a pen and a paper to draw, color pencils, crayons, paints, and all of this. Suddenly 2 years back, he asked me, Daddy, can you get me an iPad with a pencil? I was like, zapped. What is an iPad with a pencil? Because I don't use iPads at all in my day-to-day work. I use laptops and I use a cell phone. So what's an iPad with a pencil? So I started doing research. I said, okay, an iPad with a pencil can enable people to, and enable a kid to draw so much, experiment so much, colorfully experiment so much. Now, I also started thinking, how did a 7-year-old know that there is an iPad with a pencil even existed in the world with Apple? So that's the power of YouTube. Thanks to YouTube, who got that information to my kid. So YouTube is also another digitally transforming company which sends information to anybody at any place. They can decide to watch however they want. So YouTube is a revolutionary when it comes to sharing of information. We all see YouTube as a video sharing or a video online streaming company, but YouTube does much more. 6 months back, my son evolved with the same YouTube. He asked me, can I get a 3D printer? I said, okay, what's this now? He said, enough of me drawing on an iPad, coloring it, making it more artistic, all that is fine. I want to feel it. Can you help me buy a 3D printer? Now I started thinking, now what will YouTube teach him next? How economically viable is it for me to buy him a 3D printer? So do I need to earn more, or do I need to cut the YouTube channel in my house? So that's what I was thinking 6 months back. And what do companies do? I interact with a lot of large enterprises implementing automation. So that's my key role for the company that I work for. So majority of the times what I see and what I hear is companies digitize the existing process, digitize the existing service, and they say they've become truly digital innovators. They say they have transformed their business. To me, it's a big no. It's a big no. Digitizing something is the first step on the second slide that I showed you. It is just converting something paper to a digital medium. How do you empower the digital medium to make decisions for your customers, make decisions for yourself? How do you empower and how do you make digitized content work for you is digitalization. It's not even still digital transformation. So this is something that I think we'll need to keep a watch on. If somebody says that we have converted all paper to a digital medium, the answer is a big no. It's not digital transformation. So this is a quiz. I want somebody to answer who's the largest taxi owning company with no taxis physically available with them. The answer is easy. Uber, amazing. The largest accommodation provider, Airbnb, amazing. Largest phone companies, take a guess. AT&T. AT&T has physical lines. AT&T has physical telephones. Vodafone. Everybody has a phone. If you see the question, largest cell phone companies who don't own a telco infra. Skype, WeChat. These companies don't own telephone infrastructure, they don't own telephone devices, nothing. Oh, okay. World's most valuable retailers who have no inventory, Alibaba. What's the next one? Most popular media owner who creates no content. What? YouTube? Okay. Facebook. I give it to you. The next one, fastest growing banks. Paytm, who has no money. Paytm is a good example. Society One. Their business model is very, very different. They don't even have a wallet. That's the best thing. Paytm at least has a wallet. So if I want to lend money, I say, Society One, I want to lend money at this interest rate. Society One finds a borrower who's willing to take my money for a particular interest rate, only checking their credit history. They send that, they link me and the borrower. So that's about Society One. They don't own anything at all. World's largest movie house, who owns no cinemas? Netflix. The largest software vendor? Play Store? Apple and Google. They don't create softwares in their Play Store, but they take all of our softwares and they put it inside. They own a large community of softwares today, which enables them to do anything and everything. Questions? Now this is a slide where you don't ask me, where I ask 3 questions to myself, and I'm also going to ask the same 3 questions to yourself. Are we fundamentally changing the way we are thinking about business today? And I don't know how relevant these questions are to you when it comes to a business, but at least at a process level, start thinking, are we fundamentally changing the way we are thinking when we are executing a process or when we are executing a business? That's one. Number 2, are we inventing new business models, processes, adopting new technologies that are available in the market, starting from anything that is available in the market, which is a next-gen technology. The third thing, Are we driving the change or are we being driven by it? That's a very important question. Somebody forces automation, digital transformation, technology, and they say, you please follow it, or are we a catalyst for the change? So that's the third thing. I always belong to the third group, the first part in my company. I drive change by bringing in new technologies, by building new technologies, by talking to enterprise clients and how to transform their business truly. So that's about the three questions that I ask myself every day, and I also want you to think how to go moving forward. Disruption is either going to happen to you or because of you. This is a very powerful statement. My boss keeps telling this to me every day. Either it's going to happen to you by somebody in the organization, or you be the change, you build something or you buy something which digitally disrupts the way we are doing business today so that we can build new business models. So this is a very powerful statement to me. I like this a lot. Now, what is imperative for digital transformation? What is very crucial? Now, there are a lot of technologies, ML, AI, automation toolkits. They are available in abundant today to make our lives transform the way we do business, the way we look at a process. There are abundance of it. Now, what is very crucial? I'm going to start with a very powerful statement. This statement is at least 3 years old. It's not today. Deloitte said the statement of 53% of organizations have started investing on modern technologies like ML, AI, robotics. It could be anything. They've started investing to build better business models to provide faster service, digital applications in the era. Now, how are organizations starting to digitally transform the journey? Any answers? What's the first step for an organization to start transforming? The short answer is to be faster, more adaptive, and more nimble to work with. So this is out of my experience, the last 7 or 8 years being in the digital space. You need to be faster, you need to be more adaptive, you need to be more nimble so that clients are willing to work with you. Process owners are willing to change the way we want to implement digital technologies. Many organizations have started this journey by adopting RPA, which is actually the nuts and bolts of tying a process together. What is RPA? I know Mahesh asked the same question. Robotic process automation, very good. I have coined a different name for it. I would show that to you in a minute. Now, what is robotics? How does it change? Some analogies, right? It's very interesting. If your underlying process is digitized and then you truly transform it using a robot, that's robotics. Not just mimicking a user action on a keyboard or by a mouse. The second step, it's easy to build, easy to deploy, easy to manage. So that's why it's very powerful, the toolkit. The third thing is, it's related to ISACA. It reduces risks. It brings in a lot of enforcement when it comes to compliance and governance. Unlike humans, I don't follow any governance in my company, nor compliance when somebody talks to me. I say, okay, we'll get it done. I'll get it done, don't worry. So I'll take all the shortcuts to reach the solution. But technically, if it's a bot, it's not going anywhere, doing any shortcuts. It's not going to deviate from anything that you have pre-programmed it to do. If it is supposed to do 10 steps in a fashion, it would execute all the 10 steps in that fashion, and you can generate digital footprints. You can see how compliant the transaction was, the process was, the business was at all 3 layers. Now, how is the market looking? I'm sure you've all heard a lot of robotic companies like UiPath, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, Automation Edge, Assist, too many of them today. It's very crowded. But look at SAP, an ERP company talking about building their own RPA platform within the SAP application so that all SAP users can avail the power, can use the power of robotics. You don't need to buy something separate. So that's the market. That's how the market is evolving. And companies which started less than a decade, like UiPath, Blue Prism, and Automation Anywhere, have been valued at billions today. At least UiPath is 7 billion valuation. Daniel Daines, the co-founder, and along with Marius Turka, Automation Anywhere is valued at 2.3 billion, and Blue Prism following next to that. So that's the power of the market. Last thing, according to Deloitte, the same 2017 article, if you see, 53% of organizations have already started their RPA journey. 72% was in 2018. By 2022, everybody would have done RPA, a tiny robot to mimic and automate a process. So that's the power of robotic process automation that we are talking about. I've been in that space truly for the last 6 years. And I've also built a platform for the company that I work for, a true RPA platform, like UiPath and Blue Prism. So robotic process automation, transforming business processes. Now, can robots transform a business process? How many of you will say yes? Okay, there's only one. How many of you will say no? No? Okay. This is the first use case. I'm going to show you a 2 quick-minute video. What happens during a mortgage process? This is more applicable to the US market. If you see somebody gives an application, all of the documents, then processing happens. Your pre-processing documents to digital conversion, then underwriting. Underwriting is a very, very critical step. Somebody approves it and clears and closes, and somebody does the funding. The bank does the funding. In that, we did not automate the whole 9 yards of the process, but we took this part, approve and clear to close, and we created a bot out of it. I'm going to show you what did we truly transform.
Process-driven tasks in your organization that demand high levels of concentration and accuracy, usually involving exchange of information between systems. The ones that nobody really enjoys, but they have to be done? Well, those sorts of tasks can now be edited out of the workday by a new team of assistants who are always ready to help, get through them up to 4 times faster, are unable to make mistakes, and can increase numbers whenever you need them to, leaving your workforce free to get on with higher level tasks that make better use of their skills. Not to mention eliminating the pinch points in your workflow. And the name of this new team? You may know them as RPA, or Robotic Process Automation. But we prefer to call them really practical assistants. So what do they look like in action? This is Doug. He works in quality control for a large mortgage lender and is often held up by the repetitive yet vital process-based tasks, like comparing scans of original loan documents with the data on the loan system. First, he has to log into the EDMS, or Electronic Data Management System. Download the scanned document. Log into the loan operating system. Find the loan ID and then check the names match. Verify the address fields match, double-check the case numbers, cross-reference the banking details, recheck the dates, review the interest rates, match up the agreement type, and compare the answers to 350 separate questions. Phew! 56 minutes, 38 seconds, Doug. Nice work. And he has 7 more of these to do every day before he can get on with things like looking into any mismatches and helping customers with queries, which is why Doug's boss has given him a really practical assistant that can complete all the same actions that he can on the same system, using the same cursor moves, the same keystrokes, and following the same rules. Just 4 times faster and with 100% accuracy, leaving Doug free to get on with more advanced tasks, which makes him happier, his boss happier, and their customers happier. This is Rachel. She's the mortgage operations manager.
Hello. When I saw how automation could work for the people in our organization, it really clicked how it could be a really valuable assistant with so many of the issues that we're trying to solve. It's helping us eliminate errors caused by tedious tasks, speeds up productivity, and even helps us fulfill our legal obligations. Time is still money, and automation
is the key. So this is a bot which covers just not keystrokes, it also governs business processes from a legal standpoint when it comes to legal compliance. So that's the power of this bot that we have built. I have 2-3 use cases, but one of better time I'm going to skip all of that. I'm going to get into things what I wanted to show. This is the power of the brain, right? What Microsoft and Google and IBM is trying to build. You give something which is handwritten, they can convert that handwritten into a digitized form with just within few seconds, and they can tell you how accurate the conversion has been. So we have also used these kind of services to build something, and we have optimized labor, we have optimized the process to work more efficient 40 times than before, how it was. Now, how to get RPA right? Now, is there a way how to start a journey? A lot of people, a lot of enterprises that I work for ask me, where do I start? How do I start? I've built this on an open platform on the internet, Robotizability. This is a measurement mechanism tool that I've built and I've put it online. You can just go key in, you can sign in using LinkedIn, GitHub, any of those social media accounts. You can assess a process and it will let you know two things: whether it is automatable, how much of it is automatable, how much of money that you're going to spend automating it. This is how the engine looks behind it. So it helps you make the right decision when you selecting processes for automation. So if you need to pick up something and automate, I think I would suggest you to use this because it's got all my 6 years of experience built into the toolkit when you want to start the journey. Now, how do you select? After selecting, how do you prioritize? You go from the easy to the tough ones. So if you see on the top, it's digitized data. If a process has got digital, structured, business rules, data, everything, that's the first thing that you pick up. So automatically Robotizability will let you know what to pick up first, what to pick up second, what to pick up third. It will automatically give you the priority matrix also. And it will also give you, if your process is not viable for automation, what do you do to move your process to automate? What do you do to move to an automation error? So it will also give you recommendations. It does not say a binary answer yes or no. It gives you a detailed report. How do we measure? This is how we measure. One is business intelligence. One is effectiveness of automation. Reusability. We have built close to about 400 reusable components. The mortgage is a reusable component. The digitization of handwritten document to a text is a reusable component in our domain, in the robotics domain. So if some clients want to implement a quality control for mortgage, we have a ready-made bot which we say send to get the job done. That's how we measure. Then the effectiveness gains achieved in terms of utilizing robots. Rome, very interesting concept. Then number of trained professionals. I work with close to about 600 plus trained professionals in RPA in my company throughout the journey in different toolkits. The key slide, what did I learn in the last 6 years? So I've summarized all of that. You need a business sponsor when you need to do automation. You need to democratize, you need to spread automation everywhere like a disease. That's the only way it's going to be successful. Huge amount of change management is required because you're going to say humans, now they're going to turn into robots or they're going to turn into assistants for humans in the process. RPA is not rogue IT, absolutely not, because it's got digital footprint. We can track anything that a bot does. 70% of the times, it's the business process that you want to automate. Only 30% of the times, it's critical to go into a toolkit to say this toolkit can automate me. Then don't blindly replace humans. That's one key things that we have learned in the past. Automation can work for you, but does it need to really replace humans? The answer is no. Discovering the right process. What vertical is best for automation, like FAO. Setting the right expectations, what automation can deliver when you automate them. Then discovering the right process. That's where we saw robotizability, lean development, choosing the right technical platform. So these are all the learnings that I have in the last 6 years in my domain. So I'm done. So any questions? I'll be very happy to take. I still have 2 minutes left. Amazing question. This is one of the fundamental questions that every enterprise asks, every business owner asks when we say we can automate something. Fantastic question. Now, the key thing is, what do you target or what do you intend to automate? It's always not FTE reduction. It could be in the form of you bringing in new business. It could be in the form of you saying, I'm making the process more compliant to follow a lot of compliance related factors. Then comes the error rate, then comes the FTE. So it's always not the FTE first. It's on what you target the process to automate for. So that's how we have evolved. And there is always a downstream and an upstream when it comes to a process. By automating the work that my company does, that does not mean I've truly transformed or I've truly gotten into the benefit. We also say this is the step 1, but the step 0 is actually lying somewhere else. The step 0 is what needs to be automated to avoid the automation that we are doing today at step 1. You don't need to even do this if you go to the step 0. So that's the downstream and upstream of a map. So if you're looking at 10 steps as a process, yes, then I think this is going to be challenging.
Then from Hyderabad, one of the major hiccups in the automation thought process, which goes into the minds of the many corporates or the, let's say the entrepreneur as such, who has to decide, is the disadvantages it carries in his head. The major one being the initial investment cost, what it takes. Apart from this, you also have a potential risk of the implementation part. It is not possible to implement in every area, I mean, as you foresee. You have shown one example of the loan the banks is disbursing, but documents, one has to see through, it cannot read the document, as I understand, whether everything is the legal document from the compliance perspective. So like this, you have very many areas of the disadvantageous part which carries in the automation. So what is your view vis-a-vis going ahead and the implementing part?
Amazing questions. Can robot learn rules or it needs to be programmed? That's question 1. And question 2, can we use robots in every process that we see that's happening within a company? The answer is partial yes and no. Can robots learn today? Robots can definitely learn today because they have cognitive capability. In every platform that you see, they don't talk standalone RPA anymore. They talk cognitive RPA, combining the power of artificial intelligence into these bots. There is a specific company who's tailor-made robots and a platform called Antworks to solve this legal puzzle, at least in India and in the US. So they have bots which can understand legal terminologies in a legal document. For example, if you push in a document which has a home lending document which has the first buyer, second buyer, third buyer with dates, with different addresses, this bot can tell you who's the first buyer to the second buyer, are all legal compliances met or not. So bots have also evolved to answer to your question. 1, can it be implemented to all processes that we see within an organization? The answer is again partial, no. That's why we have robotizability to tell you what you can and what you cannot and what you need to do to get there. So that's how we evolve the process. So day 1, can you put robots? The answer is no. Any more questions?
Yeah, there's one more, I guess.
Please.
Really appreciate you coming there.
Thank you.
Yes, Govindarajan. Yeah, I want to, you talk about automation anywhere, Blue Prism, UiPath, so many tools. So company goes and implements UiPath platform, and then I think a lot of struggle, and then they want to move to another platform. Is there interoperability is there, or we need to again buy? That's my first question. The second question is, what about after 3 years, 4 years, the company is not there? Who is going to own this part? That's my second question.
Okay, the second question I need a clarity. Which company? The company that's implementing automation, the company you're selling the robots? Okay, good questions. Business models have evolved. I'll take both those questions. The first question is, if you're struggling with UiPath, if you're struggling with automation anywhere, being it A platform or B platform, can I go from A platform to B platform with the click of a button? The answer is no. Even though the underlying technology for all these platforms is powered by Microsoft, still the answer is no. Because all of them have their own architecture, all of them have their way of building their robots. So you cannot, there is no portability from A platform to a B platform. That's one. And to answer to your question, if you're struggling with UiPath, you need to find out, is UiPath the real cause, or the skill set who's building the bot is the real cause. That's a suggestion. Number two, if the company just goes away after building automation in a service industry, what happens? So the bots that we build, we have also evolved the business model. the bots that we build, we say you own the bots to whoever we're building the bots. So we don't own anything except the skill set and the knowledge on how to build the bot. So we don't own bots, we don't take care of bots in the organization. So we say we build and we transfer, build, sell, buyout model. So we build it, we tell the client that it is yours to manage. If you want to manage it, we'll manage it as a service for you. We give detailed documentation of how we manage bots or how we built it on the whole architecture. So that's the way we progress. We also had initial challenges, like you said, but I think in the last 6 years, we also understood clients are apprehensive about buying anything from a service company. We said, okay, you own everything. We don't own anything. It's just the talent that we own and the knowledge of how to automate things, the best practices, the COE. So we own a lot of governance related frameworks in robotics. Any other question? Please.
So on a broader sense, how secure is RPA? And I saw one of the use cases here, invoice auditing. So when RPA is all of the softwares, UiPath, Blue Prism, when they're automating my secure data, what are the risks and vulnerabilities associated to it? And when automation fails, what happens?
Amazing question. Is automation secured? Automation is absolutely secured because you're going to provision credentials for automation like the way you provision credentials for a human being. I don't know if whatever human being does can be tracked. If something they see on the screen and they write or they take a pic, that can never be tracked until you have a CCTV fixed so close to the human being who's working on a process. But when it comes to automation, automation generates a digital footprint for every action that the robot does on the screen. So every action is trackable. Every move on the automation that the robot makes you can make it to trigger an alarm if it sees something that's not happening the way it is supposed to happen inside a process or on a screen. So in that way, it's very secured. And the way you host it means a lot. So before we host a bot, we go to the right security expert, we ask them, what is a secured way to host the whole robot? So it's not one that we host. My team manages close to about 6,000 bots for different clients. So it's definitely secured. It's not one point of view. It's multiple organizations who has allowed us to put robots for different processes. We comply to all security governance risks. We mitigate them and we go. The second thing, if something happens to a bot, what happens? You can make it to send an email. You can make it to take a pic. You can send an SMS. So the process stops right there in the transaction. So you can make it to work in that fashion too. It's all about how you architect and design.
Thank you for a great session. Can we take it offline, please? I'll ask him to share his coordinates. Probably you can take it offline for the benefit of others as well. So thank you, Sarfraz, for a great session.
For your time.
So giving us insights on RPA.
Thank you.
Can I ask Mr. Prabhakar to go ahead?
The mic.
Okay. To go ahead and present the memento.
Okay. Thank you.
Next one. The next one, please. Yeah, go ahead. Next one, please. This is the last one. One more. Good.